The first text from my mom came at 8:03 a.m. I didn't even look at it. By 8:45, there was another. Then a voicemail from Dad. I didn't answer any of them. I knew exactly what it was about. They wanted something. They always do. Looking back, I can't even remember the last time. I felt like their daughter instead of a convenience. And yet, that tiny, stupid part of me, I thought I'd wondered if maybe this time would be different. Maybe this time they actually cared. It wasn't. I got the call that afternoon. My mom's voice was clipped, shaky, trying too hard to sound casual. Can you maybe come over? We need to talk. Talk. That word. Like it was innocent. Like it didn't carry all the weight of decades of being invisible in my own family. I didn't say yes. I didn't say no. I hung up. And then I started packing. I had spent 30 years learning to take care of myself, so I knew I didn't need them. But there was still that old habit, that instinct to check. To see if maybe, just maybe, they'd notice me. I drove past their house without slowing down. Their porch looked the same cracked railing, the same wine chime Dad swore made a soothing sound. I didn't stop. Months earlier, I discovered the truth. They had left everything to my younger brother. Ethan, the house, the savings, even their old cabin by the lake. All because I was too independent. I remember that day like it was yesterday. Marm asked me to come over. I thought it would be dinner, a chat. I thought maybe, finally, they wanted to connect. Instead, Dad set down his newspaper, looked me in the eye, and said, "We've updated the will." And there it was, Ethan, everything, no hesitation, no apology. Just a statement, casual, indifferent, like they were talking about the weather. "You'll be fine," Dad added. "You've always managed on your own." I wanted to scream, to demand they reconsider, to beg for just a shred of the love they showed him. But I didn't. I got up, left the house, and drove until I couldn't think anymore. For years, I convinced myself it didn't matter. I told myself that I was strong, capable, independent. But now, sitting in my car outside their home, I realized I'd been lying. It mattered. More than I could admit. Ethan had always needed them more. He had always been their favorite project, their pride and joy. And I was invisible. I didn't call that night. I didn't call the next day. I let months slip by. The holidays came and went. I wasn't invited, or if I was, I politely declined. It didn't matter. I wasn't the child who mattered. I had accepted it. Then the messages started again. Small at first. "We haven't heard from you in a while," Mom texted. Nothing about me. Nothing personal. Just polite, impersonal. I didn't respond. A week later, she tried again. "Ethan's been so busy. You should come by sometime." Still no guilt. No apology. No acknowledgement of what they had done. Finally, Dad called. I stared at the phone, letting it ring. Voicemail. I didn't return the call. But a part of me, the part that still hoped for something that would never come, hesitated. What if something was wrong? What if? I called. Won't pick it up, and for the first time in years, she sounded nervous. Breathless, almost relieved. We've been struggling," she said carefully. It's been hard without help. I didn't respond. I just let her words float in the air. Ethan had moved across the country with his wife. He barely called. He was busy with his own life. And now, suddenly, they needed me. They were desperate, and I was supposed to step in. Like some backup plan they never considered until now. I asked the question I'd asked so many times before. Why me? There was a long silence. And then Mom, fumbling, trying to justify herself, said, We didn't expect it to come to this. Looking back, that's the moment I stopped hoping. Not for reconciliation, not for love. I stopped hoping that my parents would ever see me as anything more than a safety net. I told them simply, calmly, you made your choice. Now you live with it. And I hung up. It was quiet after that. Weeks passed. No messages, no calls. Just the peace I had longed for, the life I had built without them. I told myself it was enough. But the world has a way of testing you when you're finally ready to be free. A month later, there was a knock at my door. Mom, Dad, standing there, suitcases at their feet. Faces tight with desperation. I didn't invite them in. I didn't even step aside. What do you want? I asked. We need help, Mom said, the words trembling on the edge of her lips. I leaned against the doorframe. You wanted Ethan to take care of you. That's your choice. They didn't have an answer. They had no plan. No money. No Juan. And suddenly, all those years of neglect, of being passed over, of being invisible, came crashing back at them. I didn't budge. I didn't care. Because for the first time, I wasn't just surviving. I was free. I thought that would be the end. Relieved. I thought, once I closed the door on them, life would be quiet, peaceful, predictable. I was wrong. It started with a message from Ethan, the one I hadn't spoken to in years. His words were careful, measured, like he was testing the waters before stepping in. They're struggling, he typed. We didn't see it coming. Mom and Dad, they need someone. I laughed. Not out loud, but inside. That ridiculous. Hollow laugh you get when someone finally gets a taste of their own medicine. Need someone. I replied, You mean they need me? Not you. Not the kid you left them for all those years. Me? There was a pause. Then, a long, hesitant, yeah, I guess. I didn't reply. Because the truth was simple. I wasn't going to be the fallback plan. I wasn't going to step in when they had already decided who mattered most. I wasn't the daughter they wanted. I was the invisible one, the bekapi, and I refused. Weeks went by. I focused on my life, my job, my apartment in a new state. The first nights were the hardest, quiet, empty, freezing, cold without the noise of expectation. But with every day, it got easier. Then the knock came. I froze. For a moment, my stomach dropped. Old habits die slowly. I walked to the door. There they were. My mother, thinner than I remembered, her face drawn tight with stress. My father, jaw set, hands clenched, like soldiers preparing for battle. Please, Mom said, we don't have anywhere else to go. Can you help us? I stared at them. calm, steady, unmoving. And then I said the words I had rehearsed 1,000 times in my head. You should have thought of that when you made your choices. Her face went pale. She opened her mouth, then closed it. Dad's shoulders slumped. He wanted to argue, wanted to yell, but I didn't give him a chance. You had Ethan, I continued. You invested everything in him. And now that plan failed. That's not my responsibility. That's yours. You wanted a safety net. You picked the wrong person. I could see it hit them, the realization that I wasn't going to step in. That I wasn't going to rescue them. That all their years of manipulation, of neglect, of favoritism had finally caught up. Mom tried again. We didn't think it would come to this. I shook my head. You didn't think about me at all. Not once. And now you expect me to fix it. She had no words. Dad tried to speak, to justify, to guilt me. We raised you. We gave you everything. I laughed. Cold, cutting, everything. You gave me independence. Yes. Isolation. Yes. Love. No, you gave him everything. And now you're mad because reality doesn't bend to your wishes. They went silent. And then, finally, they left. Slowly, quietly, dragging the weight of their own choices with them. I watched until they disappeared down the sidewalk, knowing this time I wouldn't follow. Life didn't pause after that. It moved forward. I threw myself into my work, into the new city, into the apartment that I chose. That was mine in every sense. I sold the house I had built, packed only what mattered, and shed the past like skin. Friends noticed. You look lighter, one said, like a weight has been lifted. Had. And then came the updates. From afar, I didn't seek them. I didn't ask. But I heard. Ethan called a few times, confused, apologetic. They're at our place now. We don't know what to do. I didn't answer. And finally, the last text arrived. Mom, no excuses. No pleas, no subtle manipulation. Ще singolaini. We made mistakes. Stared at it. Smiled faintly. Deleted it. Because the truth didn't need acknowledgement. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't even angry anymore. I was free. I had learned something important through all of it. Some people will never see you. Some people will never choose you. And no amount of hope, no amount of love can force that. Looking back, I don't regret walking away. I don't regret selling the house, leaving the city, leaving the past. I did what they never did. I put myself first. Some people say I went too far. Others think I didn't go far enough. And maybe both are true. But I know one thing for certain. I finally stopped pretending that their approval, their love, their acknowledgement mattered. And that is worth more than anything they could have left me in a will. Because in the end, freedom isn't given. It's taken. And this time, I took it.